Hi and welcome back to the Rideshare Buddy YouTube channel. My name's Kevin and today it's all about why the Ioniq 5 has to go back, and if you're looking at taking on an EV as a taxi, you need to watch this video because there's one thing that can make or break your choice. And if your car doesn't have, or the proposed car does not have, a battery warmer or heater for preconditioning, walk away. Don't take the car on, look for something different. And here's why. So the car's just done its 60,000 mile service. It's gone in. I did check with the Hyundai dealership to see whether my car could have preconditioning for the battery. It's a late model 22 Ioniq 5. It does not have the the Eco Pack, I think it is, which incorporates a heat pack and battery coolant heater, and therefore it can't precondition the battery in cold weather, and that makes this car, the Ioniq 5, pretty much unusable at this time of year. So let's look at why you can't use the Ioniq 5 at this time of year. Well, yesterday really came to a head. It was 2 degrees C, so not particularly cold. You know, in the UK, come January, February, temperature can easily drop down to -5, -6, even in South Wales. But yesterday it was 2 degrees. I went to Tesla to charge up. I was at 24% to charge up to 80%, and it took 1 hour, 12 minutes. 1 hour, 12 minutes for a 55% charge. You can't do it. And that was at the end of the shift. So I'd driven 6 hours all around town, very much local work. Did a couple of out-of-town jobs, but not much. I went to Barry and also down to Bristol Airport. But most of it was just around town, stop-start. So you got the battery as hot as it would ever get after 6 hours. Went to charge up, 1 hour and 10 minutes. No good. After a 6 hour shift, I just want to go home. I don't want to spend 1 hour and 10 minutes stuck in a car park waiting for the charge to keep 80% for the next day's work. And that's at 2 degrees. Previous day, I went to BP and it was 30% going up to 80%, and that took 58 minutes. So we're talking about an hour now to charge up. Yesterday at the Tesla, normally it goes straight up to 98 kilowatts. It stuck around most of the time at 38 kilowatts. It did go up to 42, and right at the last 2-3 minutes it went up to 80. But generally 30 to 35 kilowatts, maybe 40 kilowatts is what you're going to get at this time of year at 2 degrees. This is not even sub-zero. It's at 2 degrees. So my concern is, come January, come February, when we start hitting, -2, -3 on a regular basis, is that car going to take me 1 hour and a half to 2 hours to charge up? I haven't got that sort of amount of time. I'm not going to sit in a car park for 2 hours to charge up to go out and earn money. Because for every hour I sit in that car park, it's an hour I can't work. And that's £25, £20 to £25 I've lost. So yesterday it cost £15 to charge up in actual electricity and £20 in lost earnings. So £35 in total to charge up. It's not viable, you can't do that. And that's the problem with having a car like the Ioniq 5, the model I've got, with no preheating or no preconditioning. From model year 23, the following year, it did come with it in most of the models, but mine doesn't. So if you're looking at buying a second-hand EV for taxi work, and it's an older model and it has no battery conditioning, just walk away. It's not worth it. It's not worth the aggravation. Because my concern is that once we head down to -5, -6 sort of temperatures, will the charger just say, no, I'm not going to charge a car. It's too cold. Your car isn't going to take on enough charge. And am I going to be stuck then with a car that I can't charge until the weather warms up? That's no good for a working car. It's no good for a taxi. If your car that you want to buy doesn't have preheating, doesn't have preconditioning, whether it's second hand or whether it's new, walk away. Don't buy it, because you're going to get yourself into a whole lot of trouble. So that's the main reason why I'm getting rid of the Ioniq 5. I can give 4 weeks notice, pay £200 early cancellation and just walk away from it. So that's what I'm planning on doing. What I'm going to get, I haven't quite decided. The other issue with the Ioniq 5 at this time of year is a range loss, and it's a big range loss. I'm losing 100 miles on a charge through range loss. So I've had to turn down or not apply for some jobs, which I would do otherwise, because I just can't do the mileage. It's one thing to pick up a passenger going 200, 250 miles, picking them up at the airport and saying, it's a bit of a long trip, we'll just pop into the services for 20 minutes, you can go comfort break, buy a coffee, 20 minutes we'll be on our way, and I'll just put on a quick charge, and 20 minutes I can bung during the summer, I can bung on 100 miles. Most of the I've never had to do that so far. I've always chosen my jobs to be less than 250, 260 miles, so you do the one, but it's one way, you can do it. Say 20 minutes break, you go and grab a coffee, use the toilet, and by the time you come out, we'll be back on our way. What I can't do is say to them, we'll just go for a break because I need to charge up the car. Tell you what, go to the shop, get a key for the showers, have a shower, pop down to the restaurant there, or you just have a 3-course meal and a bottle of wine, and 2 hours, come back and we'll be on our way. That's not a viable option in this job. So my range now has dropped from 300 miles, 330 miles on a full charge to about 200 miles on a full charge. So that will cover me most of the jobs. I can still do a Cardiff to Heathrow. I can still do maybe a Swansea. Just about do a Swansea to Heathrow. Can't go much further west than that to Heathrow. Bristol, I can do pretty much most of South Wales to Bristol without a problem. But it is beginning to impact. There's a Gatwick to Cardiff and a Gatwick to Swansea. I just didn't bother applying for. Haven't got the range at winter to do that sort of mileage. But I certainly can't tell a passenger that we're going to have a 2-hour break, so I top up with electricity. 2 things. The range drop, it's not such a big one. I can handle that. I can just ignore doing those big Gatwick jobs. It's not a problem. Don't really like going to Gatwick anyway. So to say I haven't got the range, it's not a problem. But what I can't do and what I won't do is sit in a car park for 2 hours after a 6-hour shift to charge a car up. I won't do it for 1 hour, won't do it for 1.5 hours, certainly won't do it for 2 hours. So as we head further into the winter, I expect that charge time to go up and up and up. It's not viable. So that's the one mistake I did make when I took the car on. I didn't consider just how much longer it would take. 20 minutes and I've filled that car up in the summer. I thought in the winter, maybe half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. I wasn't expecting an hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. So that's my biggest advice to anybody looking at taking on an EV for a taxi. If that car does not have battery conditioning, do not buy it. Even if it costs you £5, £10, £15 more to get one with a conditioner on, go for that option. Do not buy one without battery warming. especially if you haven't got home charging. And even if you do have home charging, I would highly recommend you have a battery conditioner on, just in case you need to top up out on the road. Because you will lose a lot of range, even if you're home charging, and you may not make a complete shift in the winter months when your range really drops, because you're looking at losing about 30% of your range. And I would say 180 miles is about your normal average Uber shift. If you have a car that does 220, 230 miles, 250 miles in the summer, you're only going to get 160, 150 miles in the winter, so you will need to do a quick top up. And if you haven't got battery conditioning, you're not going to top up quickly, full stop. So I have 4 weeks' notice to give in on this car. I paid £200 early cancellation fee. It's going to be a shame because I've had it for 6 months and I really love the car. I love the way it drives, I love the space, I love the comfort, I love the response. But without a battery warmer, it's not viable at all. So what am I going to do? Am I going to go diesel? Am I going to go hybrid? Am I going to go petrol? Or am I going to stay with an EV? I'm going to stay with the EV. I just love the cars. So responsive, so comfortable, so easy to drive, so relaxing. I can do an 8-hour shift in that car, come home and not know I've been in the car for 8 hours. It's so nice to drive. So what type of car I'm going to get, I haven't decided yet. I have to do some research. The one thing that I do know I need, and that is a battery heater and conditioner. So any car that doesn't have that just won't get a look in. I'm going to go probably second hand again because I don't really want a 5-year loan, not at my age and at my stage in life. So if I can pick up another 3-year used deal, maybe, that would be good. And a preferred option is going to be a manual button for battery conditioning. The Ioniq 5 23 year or model year 23 onwards has battery preconditioning, but it's automated into and integrated into its navigation system. So you have to set a rapid charger or ultra charger has a destination, and that destination has to be within its database, and then it'll switch on when it needs to condition the car. The problem is it doesn't have all of the ultra chargers in the database. The ones I normally use, the Teslas, doesn't have Teslas superchargers listed. So if I wanted to go to the Tesla at Catholic Manor, I would probably have to program in probably a local Instavolt one, and then it'll switch on automatically as we get closer. If I wanted to go to the Carmarthen one, I'd probably have to try and find a local Instavolt or GridServe or something to that and programming it for that, and then just divert off and go to the Tesla at Carmarthen. Database isn't particularly great on the Ioniq 5. So if I could find a car with a manual button, I know which stations I charge up at, I know which are the best deals, I know where I want to go, and I would much rather just 30 minutes before I head off to get charging, press a button, condition the battery, and when I get there, it's nice and toasty warm, and it comes in at full charge. And if you look at the difference between a conditioned battery or warm battery and a cold battery, I was doing 38 kilowatt hour, 38 kilowatt at the Tesla yesterday. If that battery was warm, it'd do 98. At the Ioniq, I was doing about 40 kilowatt in the cold. In the warm, I'm doing 180 with a warm battery. So that's the sort of difference it makes. It changes it from a 20-minute charge into an hour and 10 minutes charge. So it's got to be done. So that's my one big piece of advice. If you're buying an EV or renting an EV for taxi work, make sure the model you've got has a battery preconditioner, and preferably have one with a manual override so you can switch it on manually when you need it. So what model am I going to go for? It's not going to be another Ioniq 5. It may be, if I get one later year, possibly, if it's got the preheater on. But if I can get one, something with a manual override, so it's probably going to be one of the Chinese cars. We'll wait to see. Might be a Volvo. Bit pricey. I did look at Tesla previously. The Tesla Model 3 is the one I could afford. But I don't like the dashless makeup. I like to have a speedometer and dash in front of me. Instead of got a tablet, I just didn't feel comfortable driving it. Model Y has a boot space. Model 3 has no boot space for airport work. So I don't think it's going to be a Tesla. Don't know. I've got to do my research. I've got 4 weeks in which I can have a look, have a decide, have a test drive. Could be a BYD Atto. That might be an option. Seal looks a bit small. Yeah, don't know. But it's going to have battery preconditioning. So that's it till next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. And if you are, seriously, I'm going to say this time and time again. If you're getting an EV for taxi work, make sure it's got battery preconditioning. If it doesn't, just walk away.